On Monday, Barbados became the third Eastern Caribbean country to decriminalize same-sex intimacy this year. The development came as a result of a groundbreaking ruling from Supreme Justice Michelle Weeks, who delivered an oral judgment declaring sections of the island's Sexual Offences Act void. As a result, people can no longer be prosecuted for the offences of buggery, which carried a penalty of up to life in prison, or for serious indecency, which had a maximum prison term of 10 years upon conviction. Barbadian Attorney General Dale Marshall told CBC News after the ruling that he was not surprised by Justice Weeks' decision, but that an appeal was not out of the question based on the exact verbiage of her written judgment, which is expected next month.
I do have some immediate concerns in relation to the striking down of the offences created in Section 12, since that section concerns, among other things, indecent sexual conduct with minors. I'm awaiting the perfected order and also the written decision of Justice Weeks, and unfortunately that decision will not be available until early in the new year. But when we see the written decision, we will then be able to analyze her legal reasoning and make a decision on whether we appeal or not.
The case from which the ruling stemmed was filed by two local LGBT advocates, Renee Holder-McLean Ramirez and Raven Gill, with community support from local organization Equals Barbados. The matter forms part of the strategy spearheaded in part by regional LGBT organization, the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality. ECAD's announcement of the news via its platform on Twitter was met with much approbation from the Caribbean social media community. One commenter applauded the move while pressing for more to be done to ensure the protection of all in the LGBT community. Barbados joined St. Kitts and Nevis, which decriminalized same-sex intimacy in August, and Antigua and Barbuda, which was first in July. Although the laws still on the books across the Caribbean were rarely enforced by authorities, they were seen as providing legal cover for the bias and discrimination historically faced by lesbian, gay, and transgender people in Caribbean societies. As the region's courts slowly strike down these colonial-era laws long after they were abandoned by the UK in favor of a more progressive perspective, LGBT advocates are turning their attention to those jurisdictions where intimate contact between consenting adults is still subject to legal scrutiny. Jamaica, a country whose society is famous for its loudly expressed distaste for same-sex interactions, was recently called on by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights to repeal its laws punishing buggery and so-called gross indecency between males with up to 10 years in prison. These laws, says IACHR, stand in violation of human rights, the same argument that was generally made by the successful legal challenges in Barbados, Antigua, and St. Kitts. Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago's government is fighting to overturn an April 2018 ruling by High Court Judge Devendra Rampersad, who found the buggery laws in that country to be unconstitutional and thus null and void. Unlike in Barbados and other jurisdictions, however, his initial determination did not immediately strike down the offending sections of legislation, but allowed for further submissions. However, in September of 2018, Justice Rampersad ordered amendments to the legislation on the books, including inserting the words "without consent" to the section criminalizing buggery. At the beginning of this month, Trinidad's Attorney General reportedly filed submissions in the state's appeal against Justice Rampersad's ruling. LGBT activist Jason Jones, who had brought the initial matter to court, excoriated the government for calling itself a republic while at the same time fighting to keep laws imposed on the country by its former colonizers. The Organization of American States has called on all member states to, quote, prevent, punish, and eradicate discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity.